All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is Brandon.
Stefan.
Guys, this is Crisis on Infinite Rants. Drops every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. New time slot unlocked. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We are going to be talking about the Batman movie. I know we've taken a little bit of breaking from Crisis on Infinite Rants lately. We've had some stuff going on, had some not so great news in the family, and then followed by a few other things, switching up the workplace and everything. But we're back. We're better than ever. Steph, my brother, how are you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I could complain, but who'd want to hear it? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm fantastic, bro. Last week was a phenomenal week. Batman came out. I got to talk to some of my favorite creators of all time. I'm still in awe of that. So on cloud nine, let me say. So that's pretty dope. And now we're here discussing this Batman movie with a special person.
Yes, a very special person. And that you guys missed the Fraction and Dots interview. Steph and I had a great time with them. Go definitely check it out. Definitely take the time to check out Adventure Man. That was honestly a dream come true. And Fraction does not do this. Was their first time being on YouTube together. Fraction does not do interviews. So the fact that we had the honor of hosting them both was so it was the best experience ever. Great way to bring in 21. Got to celebrate with my boys the other day. Let's bring in our special guests. Do you want to do the intros?
We'll leave that one up to you. Let you christen this new, let's bring them
Hi,
in
Ty.
the right way.
Hey, how are you guys?
Station. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. This is Ty. He's been supporting the channel for a while. I know he's been Boys of the Ling for a while, for even longer. So, Ty, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
Also,
thank you
you guys, he is chasing nostalgia on the gram. So
on the
always
Instagram,
posting great stuff. Sub up.
Yes. His link isn't. Yep. All of his links are in the description below. Definitely make sure you guys give him a follow. We're talking about Batman today, but before that, we got our little coffee cups. Cheers.
Cheers. Clank. Clank.
Clink. Yes. Boom. All right, and I do have a little bit of an unboxing. So I did turn 21. This would have been 2 days ago if you're seeing this Wednesday. So one of our buddies, JD, who also has a YouTube channel, is also on the gram. Great member of the comic community. Sent me a little something. He gave Steph a little AOK a few weeks ago that he unboxed.
I always keep that bad boy on.
Hey,
it's that beautiful. Shout out.
So all right, so we got this little bubble wrap. We got, oh, no way. No way. So if you guys don't know, I'm a big Disney fan. Disney movies are like one of my favorite things. I know Steph knows because every time he says a word, I just start singing a Disney song. But when I was on JD's show, we were talking about Disney because he always goes to Disneyland, right? And he asked me what my favorite was. And I told him it was Aladdin, and I actually got to meet the voice actors of Aladdin and Jasmine,
Ooh,
Scott Waring and oh my gosh, Linda Larkin. Yeah, Linda Larkin. And he gave me this pin, this Aladdin pin.
Oh, that's sick.
You got Aladdin.
Right there.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, man. This is going on my backpack. My backpack is about to enter a whole new world of swag, JD, I have never had a friend like you, man. Oh my gosh, we're gonna be one jump ahead of the game tomorrow. I just used 3 different references. If anyone, thank you so much, JD. Station, my brother.
Station.
Guys, make sure we're checking out the PCP Army Bad Batch today. We got starting the day off Tomorrow Cinema. He's gonna be dropping one of his reviews. He is Tomorrow Cinema because all the variants are gone. Back to Tomorrow Cinema. So definitely check him out. We got Nick Comic Culture going over FOC and new stuff in his shop. Check that out as well. Then you're going to come over to us at 3 o'clock. We got Let's Talk About It remastered shortly after. That's going to be closing the curtains. We're going to be celebrating another birthday here in the Bad Batch. It's Brother Joe's birthday.
Happy birthday, Brother Joe. I'll be saying it to you later on.
Yeah, we're going to sing to you, Brother Joe, because you always sing to us. You're always singing in Blame Fable tonight. So now we're going to sing to you, Brother Joe. You're the artist of the group. Big shout out to you on your big birthday. Thank you so much, Brother Joe. Definitely check out that show, Talking About Star Galactica. We're going to be celebrating with our boy, Brother Joe. But let's talk Batman right now. Initially, what were your guys' first reactions, like with the trailer when we got everything 3 years ago?
You want to start off, Taro? Yeah, I can take it.
I was excited, especially because Robert Pattinson wouldn't have been my first choice. However, I consider him one of the great method actors of our generation, like Jake Gyllenhaal. And I was excited, especially hearing that Paul Dano was going to be the villain. And at that particular time, we didn't know if it was going to be the Riddler, but we all assumed. Yeah, very, very interested. I was still kind of upset that obviously Ben Affleck was no longer going to be in the movie.
Upset?
I was extremely upset.
I was doing cartwheels in the front lawn when we got a new Batman.
But I mean, even though we have a new Batman, with the Flash coming out later on this year, technically speaking, this year we get 3 Batman, so it all worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Agreed. What about you, Steph?
I was excited based off the prospect that I trusted in Reeves' vision. I was of course bummed out. Like I'm a big Batfleck fan. I think a Batman movie that would have been written, directed, and starred by him would have been a game changer, to be completely honest. Had he pulled this off, it would have been next level. That being said, Pattinson was like Tyrell said, Pattinson wasn't he wasn't my first choice, but I had seen him in other things beyond Twilight, so I wasn't mad about it. Actually, based off the 2 choices they had at the time, which was Pattinson and Nicholas Hoult, Beast and the Young Beast in the new X-Men movies,
right?
It had to be Pattinson. I would have raged had Nicholas Hoult been the new Batman. That's just a no. But right. Yeah, I extremely excited. The prospect of it was excited. Right. Pattinson's a great method actor, one of the greatest of our generation, as Ty said. And you could tell he was going to bring a differentness to this role, like maybe, intensity, which he did in spades. So yeah, I've been excited for this the last few years.
Yeah, I'm with that. When my first experience was with DC fandom, not this past one, but the previous one when we got like all the concept designs. Matt Reeves came out and he was announcing the cast. We got the first look at like the teaser trailer, and I was in awe simply because of the tone of it. Simply, like they only really used 2 colors. We had like that darker black. We had like a black. We had a darker red. Almost like a crimson. It was more like a crimson red. So like, I'm wearing the shirt. These were the tones that we had. I was super excited, and all you just saw was "I'm vengeance," and like that was like the only words, right?
Actually, speaking of that trailer you were talking about, that when I saw that, I was like, yo, the movie's only been shooting for about a month. If that 2 months,
they got that much film, bro.
Let me know that we were on the right track immediately.
And just like how excited Matt Reeves was, him talking about it, and keep in mind, guys, like that was the same day James Gunn announced the Suicide Squad cast. That's the same day we got looks at Shazam 2. That's the same, it was Shazam 2 we got teased. And that same year we got the Darkseid trailer, right? Yeah. For Snyder Cut. Now, Snyder Cut already came out. We already saw what that did. We already saw what Suicide Squad did. So this was more like, okay, DC is planning in advance to me. And this is like their biggest project. This is really what they want to hit home. And I thought that they did a really good job. They went over the concept for the suit, for the bat symbol being the gun that killed Martha and Thomas Wayne, melted into a chest plate. I thought that was super dope. As I would have liked to see that hinted more in the film. It wasn't, unfortunately. But that's really one of my only setbacks. I just would have liked to see a little bit more. I know we're not going to go over the tropes and the cliches of Batman because that's mythology at this one. It's modern mythology, right? Everyone knows the origin of Batman. But I think this film did a really good job at giving us a Batman that we can learn and grow with. Batflick, Christian Bale, even Val Kilmer, they were all experienced, right? They were already like in Gotham for probably 20 plus years at this point. Right, kind of doing everything solo. They didn't have to learn anything. This is the first time we're seeing a Batman that's not in the Gotham TV show. That wasn't even Batman. This is the first time we're getting to see a growing persona.
He's every time we've seen a live action Batman, the mythos is already established, developed. This is the first time we've seen like a take where people are taking him as a joke. Like you say, when you see him in the movie, you're like, who is this guy? Like, or he like, I'm vengeance. At the beginning of the film, the thugs he beat up, like they
Yeah.
took him for a joke. Like some people still don't know. He's almost like an urban legend. Like, and when they see him, like, oh, this guy's a clown.
Yeah, I
Bro.
agree.
Like,
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a different perspective based on what, like you said, the other Batman are always well into their years of Batman. Everything's established. All the tropes that Batman's kind of known for been in play. Like him, he's still trying to develop those bits, I guess, if you will, to implement for his mythos.
Right. I agree. And the whole rest of the cast was great. I really like Commissioner Gordon. I think he played a really great role in that. Ty was saying Paul Dano a little bit. I'm going to say this. Zoe Kravitz was not my highlight of the film as much as other people put her up there because she's a very attractive person. She's a very talented actor. I just didn't like Catwoman as a plot device. Right? One of my biggest setbacks from the movie, which I really enjoyed, was the fact that you take Catwoman out and it's the same movie.
Yeah.
Right?
That's one of my grievances is that I felt like certain subplots, her being the biggest, could have been shortened just a little bit. Like it almost felt like it was a Bat-Cat movie, instead of it just. And I get that they're trying to build up Gotham, but when you hear the Batman, you just think it's solely focused, and especially in year 2, you think it's just going to be more about him. And like you said, if they taken out some of those plot elements, it would have almost been the same movie. Like that was a big subplot they could have tightened just a little bit, or maybe saved for her own project. Now if they were trying to do this to build off of this and establish her for her own project, I can understand that, like that was a good setup. But if not, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, other Catwoman we've had always show up in like towards the end, in the middle, towards the end. Like Pfeiffer was the sequel, Anne Hathaway was in the end. So to have her be such a prominent role in the first movie, either they don't plan on using her that much going forward, or she's going to be just as big of a part as she was in the first movie, which I think, I don't know. I wasn't.
She's a main character.
Yes, and I think maybe my biggest problem with her subplots was I think I've seen other people say this, but I think they kind of established the romance a little too early, in my opinion. I would have been okay with like some heavy flirting, as Batman and Catwoman do, but they kind of really sealed the deal that these are two characters who are kind of yearning for each other so early on. I felt like it was a little forced, not bad, but just certain things. I just feel like they were just trying to go too hard, too big with on all aspects of the movie. And I appreciate the passion, but could have been refined.
Right, and I think that Zoe had a nice addition to the movie. Like she kind of brought that swagger, her attitude towards the role of Catwoman, I thought was so unique.
Yes.
But as a narrative, as a plot device, I felt like we could have done without her character, and still, I think I still would have had the same thoughts about the movie. Ty, are you feeling what I'm saying, or do you have a different opinion?
No, I see where you guys are coming from. I have a slightly different opinion, but exactly what you guys are saying is what a lot of people are saying in the community. And that's why I think Catwoman probably won't be as heavy in the second Batman film. Because towards the end of the movie, the Bat and the Cat, they split ways. So I think Matt Reeves knew that could have been an issue for the community in advance, and that's why they set up the ending the way that they did. And for instance, like my wife, I always tell her that she's not part of the comic community, so she was unaware that in the comics from time to time, Batman and Catwoman have a really strong relationship at different points. But that was one of her favorite aspects is actually seeing Zoe. She was just going to be eye candy throughout the movie.
Right.
No, she was respectable and like she's giving Batman a run for his money when they first met, so
and I don't know if I still trust that Selina still has pure intentions with Batman, because Bruce knows, Batman knows that Selina Kyle is Catwoman, but Catwoman doesn't know that Batman is Bruce yet. So.
I don't even think Bruce knows that he's Bruce yet, and I think that dives into a whole another subject too. Is though this was not a Bruce Wayne story in past Batman movies. Kind of like I said, he has that veteran experience. he's kind of unlocked that advantage of having money and having one of the biggest, if not the biggest business in the world, let alone Gotham. Wayne Enterprises is the business that the people have kind of banked on to always be stable. Gotham is such an unstable place, but Wayne Enterprises is such a stable environment. Even though Joker just recently took it over and broke the bat, more ways than what literally broke the bat's bank. But that's a whole different discussion for a later time. But he hasn't really unlocked what the advantages are to being a Wayne.
Bruce Wayne and keeping up appearances.
Right. And like having these people at your side, right? Kind of being that face, right? Because in a lot of ways, Bruce Wayne is the public face of Gotham, not really the mayor, right? Because the mayor in Gotham, right, we've always said was a big puppet head. A lot of times they're paid off, you got the police, but a lot of people look to Bruce Wayne for inspiration, much like they looked up to Thomas and Martha when they were still around. So that was a head nod that I think we're going to later see. This movie does a great job at setting up a trilogy that we're going to have. We get a lot of spin-offs. So I'm more than confident we are going to unlock that portion. I wasn't too mad that we didn't see Bruce Wayne. He almost gave me like Machine Gun Kelly vibes. Like he acted kind of like a punk when he was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. No, he was definitely a grungy, edgier Bruce Wayne. But I think that is intentional. Like you said there, that's something he's going to learn, that, Bruce Wayne could get him places that Batman can't, and vice versa. Like Batman could go places. It's like two sides of the same coin. He's gonna have to balance it out. But right now, he's so focused. It's a very a Batman who's still. Bruce always has that pain from losing his parents, even as an older Batman. But in this movie, as a young man, it's almost, he uses that as a fuel as an older Batman. In this movie, it almost kind of clouds. That's his focus. It clouds his judgment sometimes. It works in his favor, but it also obscures his vision a little bit, his focus, because he's still got the rage.
And I think that's why he was always a step behind the Riddler, throughout all these clues. Like, he solved the puzzle, right? He was quick with like the little jokes, like the riddle me this, blah blah blah. Like he was quick with that, but like the overall big picture, my man was slower than like an old grandma running down to the first base line, which I also think like that's why we are going to be seeing a growth in this Batman going forward. I was really impressed with what I saw. My concerns going into the movie was, okay, this motherfucker's bulletproof. I don't know if I like that, but he's relentless. He's relentless. He was standing in front of everybody with their heavy shotguns, all their heavy weapons. I think the narration of the movie was a very strong aspect. If you look at all the Batman comic books, they're all told in the perspective of Batman. 9 times out of 10. So to start the movie off from like his perspective, and you're seeing the world through his lens, through his darkness, I thought was a great success of the movie. What do you guys think? Ty, you can go first.
Oh, I 100% absolutely agree with you. The tone of the movie was outstanding, and this Pattinson's version of Batman was great to me, because even though some of the gang at the beginning didn't really respect Batman, I loved how they showed the different aspect of when they see the bat signal in the sky. Some of the criminals are like,
back and away.
It was time to go. So whether it was a superstition to most, or maybe the guy that was actually robbing the grocery store, he dealt with Batman in the past before, and that's why he was like, "Nah, I'm done for the night." Yeah. This Batman seemed to be a lot more feared by some of the community.
Absolutely.
Right. What do you think, Steph?
I enjoyed the tone of the movie. A lot of people compare it to like Seven, and I could see that they definitely had that dark, gritty atmosphere. I can see what you mean, how this was kind of like a perspective of while it was Bruce's tale, it was kind of like we're seeing Gotham through the lens of multiple characters. Maybe that's why Selina had such a big role in it. We were seeing how Gotham affects different lives in different ways. I think that the tone, the atmosphere was fantastic. I stand by this, but I think it's got some of the best cinematography some of the best, absolutely best shots in a comic book movie, but definitely in a Batman movie. I'm a big fan of last year's Dune. I just found out the cinematographer who did that, The Mandalorian,
also did Dune
and Rogue One, did this
It
movie.
makes sense.
So it makes sense. Yeah, you can see it. That just adds to it. It's almost like a Zack Snyder thing. You know, people clown Zack Snyder all they want, but he's great when it comes to iconic visually appealing and entertaining, involved shots. And
right.
that movie
Watchmen,
was on this
prime
level.
example.
Yeah, Watchmen. Yes, there's so many beautiful shots in this Batman movie. Like you could just freeze it in that frame, and it's a work of art. Someone took that picture just to look cool. In reality, it's just a frozen picture of a movie segment or a movie scene. Yeah, I think my gripes with this movie are far and few, but that because everything was almost on point. But the atmosphere, the color palette and stuff they use, the production and the suits, everything was
on
fantastic.
Point.
Yes,
I agree 100%. Yeah, 100%. Right.
Let me. Tyrell, you brought this up, and I didn't peep this. We were talking about this the other day. At the end, of course, we're doing spoilers. When he injects himself. Now, I did find it peculiar that it was green, but I just kind of assumed it was adrenaline, right? You brought up that it was like it could be venom. I was like, yo, I did not think of that. Like, that's a really cool little breadcrumb that even if he hadn't fought Bane yet, maybe in this universe, Wayne Enterprises is the one who produces venom for whatever reason, and that's an experimental thing. Maybe the dude Bane breaks into Wayne Enterprises, steals the venom in the next movie, and Bruce is like the creation of Bane. It was a cool thing I didn't really think of, but would be so dope if that was like what it was.
The franchise can go so many ways. The movie was left for such future great interpretation.
I agree.
Right.
I like how the ending of the movie. I know they kind of vaguely did it in Dark Knight Rises, but I think it was more on the nose in this movie. The setup for No Man's Land, like Gotham kind of being its own thing that Batman really has to look out for and take care of. I see them definitely doing that in the next movie.
Oh, agreed.
And Joker having his little Jokerville.
Yeah, I could have done without the Joker being in there, just because I think in the comics we've seen Joker like way more than we have in years past, and I think everyone is just kind of checked out. We're ready for more villains to be spotlighting Gotham because Batman has the best rogues gallery, but writers and just as an industry, they want to keep going back to the Joker, And I'm going to be very honest, the Joker movie to me was not as impressive as people say it is. It was a great story about mental illness, but it wasn't a great Joker movie. It showed me almost, it showed me almost nothing that the modern Joker interpretation is, especially when correlated to Batman, because their relationship is so symbolic. I think that not having Batman in that film hurt it, and pinning it up on Joker was more of a mental illness statement of how people can justify their behavior and how that whole nature versus nurture argument can dwell or lead to mental illness, right? And just like how people view others who are in that situation, right?
Yeah, it was a great character study of someone with mental illness. It wasn't a bad interpretation of Joker, but I get why that's not for everybody. Like, I'm of the belief that a good character study, but not my favorite interpretation of Joker. What Joker means or represents to me,
Right. Heath Ledger's Joker was great. Mark Hamill's in the animated series were great, or like in all the animated movies were great. I really liked the Joker we got in Gotham, both of them, if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and that's the one that we saw at the end. I really enjoyed Gotham because we had that opportunity for these villains to breathe, to grow, to develop. And we saw Gotham just as an environment. We just saw more and more and more of that universe, and all these characters were just starting. And I think one of my go, bro.
No, I was gonna to add on to what you're saying about that. Those it's like they had something they wanted to say with Joker, and whether it be the animated series, The Dark Knight. It almost feels like in this one, Joker's popular, people love Joker, so they squeezed him in some.
Yeah,
it's not like
Jared Leto's Joker in the Snyder Cut. I was like, okay, fuck off, get out of here.
I think Jared Leto could have done something great. I think it was editing and studio interference.
I have to see the Ayer cut for that.
You know what? I'm of the belief
yeah,
if you have 4.5 hours of film and that's the only thing you cut, there's a reason for it, you know? I don't know. I think he could be a fine Joker, but I don't think he would have like broken any records.
I remember hearing his laugh in the Suicide Squad trailer, not the Suicide Squad, and he was like, ah, 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 and I just remember thinking that was just so fucking, just super sick, super dope.
Yeah.
Just very creepy, and I think Joker should be creepy.
Very sinister.
Yeah. Case in point, the new Joker and the Batman, his laugh at the end was kind of, it was annoying. There was no special appeal to it. Yeah, there was just like, like, what are you chuckling for, bro? Like, I don't know. That's why I said I think Jared Leto could have brought something. And, the director said this, though. The director and Jared Leto have said we shot a bunch of stuff for Joker to have his own movie. And keep in mind, after we've seen the Justice League, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, I think it's safe to say that the studio really fucked over
interference.
Suicide Squad movie. Yeah. So it's, Jared Leto can be a little pretentious. So I didn't really believe him when he said that. It was, of course, an actor's going to say, yeah, I did a great job. The studio messed up. But after seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League, I can't help but feel there's some sliver of truth to that it's the studio, not the actors and the director.
Right. I think my biggest gripe to Snyder's Justice League was actually like his cast was terrible. I think if he had a better cast, better supporting system around him, the movie could have been a lot better because it was a decent narrative, But once you bring Superman back in, it's like a wrap. It's like, what were those 3.5 hours for if he's just gonna beat the shit out of what was the guy's name? Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Steppenwolf, the one villain no one gives a shit about. Yeah, Steppenwolf.
Yeah, true.
It's like a wrap at that point. Who can rival Superman? If you really want to tell me Batman can't get out, I don't want to have that conversation with you because you're just wrong. You're wrong. Superman is the most powerful character. Arguably, the only other character I would put in that conversation is Dr. Manhattan. Fine, you want the dark side in there? Go for it. Anything else is just wrong. And you can argue that all you want. With enough prep time, my ass. When push comes to shove, you're not stopping someone who's from Krypton. You're not stopping.
I mean, that's true, yeah. The stuff like this is always going to be dependent on the writer, but realistically, yes, Superman would be the dominant force. There's no way Batman could see him coming.
Right. That was like issue number 1 for me. I wasn't the biggest Batfleck fan. I love him as Bruce Wayne. I hate him as Batman just because, like, you have to put him in a tech suit. You have no other thing but to surround this man with all the technology in the world because he's unathletic. He's like that one offensive lineman that gets 5 false starts because he just can't move like that. If any of y'all football fans, you know what I mean.
But he kind of, all right, in his defense, I feel like he was the closest interpretation to a comic or cartoon accurate Bruce that we've had. Like, if you look at Bruce Wayne, he's like Christian Bale's built more like Dick Grayson than he is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I agree
Bruce Wayne
with that.
Is very stocky, and Ben Affleck brought that. He was all these other, even Pattinson to a degree is built like Robin. These aren't stocky.
Hey, he's in year 2, man. This guy's like 24. My man could still be like going through some iteration of puberty. I mean, he has time to bulk up and everything.
I don't see Pattinson doing it. Let's be honest.
Stefan,
but that's okay.
Did you watch the Batman the animated series from, I would say now 15 years ago? It was on yes, WB Kids, which come to find out it came from South Korea, the animation, but that's what Pattinson's body reminded me of, more of the Batman.
Yeah. Like I could see him bulking up, of course, but he's got like that I was just trying to defend Ben Affleck, but he's got like the closest true physique. Bruce Wayne physique, yes, comic wise, and so to say he's not that athletic, I'll give you that, but he's got the look.
He has the look. No, he has the look 100%. Oh my God, I keep saying that, but
absolutely.
But I think like the biggest strength of Pattinson is that he does have like that room for growth. He's young enough to where we can kind of meet ways with that role. Zack Snyder's like Justice League cast. Now we're off topic there. I wasn't a big Ray Fisher fan. I'm still not a big Ray Fisher fan. I'm not the biggest fan of the girl playing Wonder Woman. And I think like Henry Cavill was my favorite actor of that, and Superman is not my favorite character from the Justice League. In fact, most times in the Justice League, he is my least favorite character. You know, but that's also depending on who the Green Lantern is. If it's Guy Gardner, then of course, you know, that spot is automatically reserved for Guy Gardner.
Yeah, because he's the best.
Yeah,
That's
no, you're wrong.
You're still. I'm still warming up to the opinion of Guy Gardner because Steph, you already know my opinion on Guy. I'm a Jon Stewart kind of guy.
Oh, I mean, they're all better than Hal Jordan. All right, let's just throw that out there.
Yeah, Cal.
I think we've reached an impasse with our Green Lantern comics. Let's bring this back on track.
Oh, no, I just want to, real quick. Guy Gardner's the best. But yes, who are you guys' favorite characters in the Batman?
Ty, you go first, brother.
Oof. I'm gonna have to go with the Penguin. Colin Farrell's portrayal as the Penguin. I mean, even on set, the security stopped him numerous times and basically told him like, "Yo, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm in the movie. I'm Colin Farrell. I'm the Penguin." And they're looking at him like the practical prosthetics done for him was perfect. I like his attitude and everything. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, his attitude. This line delivery was like the best in the movie. Yeah, I'm not gonna front.
Say you are.
His line delivery in the movie was such a great portrayal of Penguin in the comics. Penguin has always been like that guy who has all the information, right?
Yes.
It's like the reason why Penguin doesn't go away is because he's the smartest. You know, he's the most street smart character in Gotham. Absolutely. You can say anything else, and again, you're wrong. Penguin has the most street smarts. That's why he has the Iceberg Lounge. That's why he has all that information. He hears so much, but he keeps it all in. That makes him useful for someone bigger, like Two-Face is bigger. If Ra's al Ghul came to Gotham, you would use Penguin. Joker using Penguin, right? That's why he don't go away. It's because he understands how Gotham works better than anybody else on the streets of Gotham, right? Everything flows through the Iceberg Lounge. It's the place to be, you know? It's where the party's popping. They did a great job establishing that. His line delivery was like, I'm the chess master and I'm moving all my pieces, you know? Yeah. He's like, now's not my time. I'll let Falcone do it, right?
I really like that Al Capone vibe he brought to the Penguin, you know? Like the ultimate gangster.
Yes, he is, and he was very wise. You know, he's a really wise character. I think he was my favorite as well. I also think that Falcone was up there in my favorites, and so is Riddler. You know, all three of the villains were like some of my favorite characters. You know, because I love the character studies and what you can say about Batman's Rogues Gallery a lot of times, and just like the way Gotham changes people on a psychological level is so amazing to me. You know, and how people respond to that darkness, you know, because we all have darkness. I think like Gotham to me is like a representation of our life, right? You know, we all have darkness inside of us, right? We have these back alleys where things get darker. We also have these tunnels where there's a light at the end, right? Gotham has that light sometimes, you know. Sometimes all we need is that Batman light to get out of it, but that darkness will change you. That darkness will try to rip you to shreds, you know, but you got to understand how to network yourself in order to find that light. And I think that's like the most amazing thing about Gotham, you know. You know, in my mind, I think like that just speaks worlds about it. So I don't know. What do you think when you think of Gotham?
Let me get into my favorite characters first.
All right, who are your favorite characters?
I liked the Penguin, of course. And the whole cast was amazing, but if I just had to pick three, which is hard, Penguin, Pattinson is Batman. His whole little dialogue, like I think that's almost understated because that's something that's true to Batman's nature. He's not going to waste time saying words or dialogue. He gets straight to the point, says what needs to be said, does what needs to be done. He's all about being efficient, you know, like Batman's not going to sit there and have a long drawn out. He's trying to get to the core of things. And I think Pattinson nailed that to a T. My third is Gordon. I think Jeffrey Wright did a brilliant job, bro. I don't think and I love Gary Oldman, but Gordon to me has always kind of been that cop who's trying to do the right thing. He's always getting shit from other officers. He can't catch a break. He's almost like weathered and beaten down. And I think Jeffrey Wright nailed that. Like, you know, he's just a guy who he's almost like not ready to give up, but he's just so tired and jaded of seeing all this shit play out and the crookedness, and he can't really, there's only so much he can do playing within the rules of the law. And I think he really, really nailed that. Like a dude trying to play by the law, but understanding you can't get everything like you need someone like Batman. You have to play outside the lines of the law.
Right, and I think like his trust with Batman speaks worlds about his character, because we're always talking, what I said about Gotham and how people react to that darkness. He kind of goes with, okay, who do the people trust? Who's like, I want to be behind this guy when push comes to shove, even if, because what he's doing is right. Is he going about it the right way? Not a lot of times, right? But I'm gonna let him operate. I'm gonna let him solve it. So I'm right there with him so he can let me do it the right way,
Exactly.
Kind of like that yin and yang. He's going to be the darkness, but I'm going to be the light that puts people away and reinforce the GCPD, because they're a very prominent part in Gotham.
Yes.
The relationship between Batman and the GCPD was highlighted really well. You have people that agree, you have people that disagree, and then you have Commissioner Gordon, who's on both sides of the stick.
Yep.
Understood. What did you think about Harley Bullock not being in the film?
Oh, it's funny you brought him up. I was just thinking of that.
I have my thoughts. I want to hear what you think first.
I wouldn't have mind seeing Bullock, but I understand the movie was already pretty stuffed. Maybe he's a character you could have just had show up in a scene and call him by name just to show rapport between him and Gordon. But maybe he's another character that they almost feel like he's almost built his own respectable fan base and stuff, where when they introduce him, they're gonna want to have something, not just the Joker where he just says a few lines and it's wasted.
Right. He's gonna be there with purpose.
Maybe exactly. Maybe if the next movie Gordon gets moved up or something and he has to have like a partner and they bring in Bullock for whatever reason, I'd be cool with that.
Right.
I wouldn't have mind seeing Bullock, but
I wouldn't mind not seeing Bullock.
Exactly.
I wouldn't mind not seeing Bullock. I think that we're gonna eventually get a Gotham Academy show. I think that would be so dope. Right?
That'd be interesting.
Think about it. Who is a character in Gotham that can survive in that darkness, that can be perfect for that dark alley, a female who can bring more representation to the film that we haven't really tapped into, Renee Montoya. And we can do her character right. Or we can even bring back the same damn actress.
You said Gotham Academy or Gotham PD?
We can do like a Gotham Academy show, I think her character would be great. I think if we did see Renee Montoya, I think that would be good. What's up, Ty? No more gaping holes in the show.
My apologies.
I know, brother. You good? So we got your three favorites. Steph said his.
Oh no, yeah, you only said one favorite character. My bad. Go on.
Who are your other two?
No. Oh yeah.
My other two would have to be Riddler, because Riddler gave me Paul Dano. He's one of those guys that every time he's cast in a movie, I always consider him the bad guy, because to me he just gives natural weirdness. He doesn't even need to try.
Yeah.
Especially seeing the movie with him and Hugh Jackman, Prisoners.
Oh yes. Yes.
And I can never pronounce the other guy's name, but the one who played Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen, yeah.
Paul Dano gave me the serial killer vibes of the movie. But I can't think of it right now. Jake Gyllenhaal, serial killer.
Not Nightcrawler.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I wouldn't know.
It came out in like 2010.
Was he the killer though?
He wasn't the
I know
killer.
what you're talking about. It had Robert Downey Jr. in it. It was a Zodiac.
Zodiac, yes. Paul Dano gave me some Zodiac killer vibes with leaving the cards with different puzzles.
And you know what's crazy is that Zodiac was directed by David Fincher, who directed Seven, who this movie, the style is based off of. So that I could definitely see that.
You guys are geniuses. I love it.
Am I doing a bit?
No, you're not.
Oh, okay.
I think Ty's frozen. Ty, you there, bro? All right. Anyway, I think like the biggest strengths of the movie were the villains. I think they did a great job of highlighting the rogues gallery. Penguin definitely got his teasing.
Yes.
And he is getting spun off into his own show, and I think he was my favorite. I think Falcone is like the unsung hero of the film. I don't know. Like you guys are saying, you got like a lot of like Seven vibes or like Lost vibes or whatever, and I saw a lot of Sopranos in his character.
Well, yeah. That's. I think that was what they were going for.
You know,
I like that Totoro wasn't a complete. It's almost not. I don't. I want to say he wasn't a complete piece of shit. Like I know he was a bad guy, but
but he
you could
wasn't
tell that.
like he wasn't like completely jaded in the darkness. It wasn't like, okay, I understand you're just. It was more like for people who don't understand his role in the comic books. It was like you're almost like this guy is not bad, and then you're like, oh wait, never mind, he really is.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of thing. You know, you kind of learn about his character more, about him hiding in the shadows. Which again,
Yes.
that's also how Gotham got started. Is these crime families, people with money. Falcone has money. You know, and I liked how they highlighted like a little bit of his feud with the Maronis. And I think that we are going to get more into the mythos of the families with money, the Maronis, the Falcones, the Arkhams. You know, maybe he has another daughter who wants to do that, but
let's get what is something that you think they could have refined, altered, or like something you didn't think worked for the movie?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Alfred worked that well.
I could see that. I almost feel like he was underutilized.
I think Alfred was underutilized, but also I think like it's like you had Andy Serkis on, who has really been a part of a bunch of movies. So like I was excited because like I think Andy Serkis is a very diverse actor. You know, he was a complete villain. He was Snoke in Star Wars. You know,
Yes.
he was
Caesar, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes. He was in Black Panther. He was Ulysses Claw, you know, who was also kind of like a scummy jackass. He doesn't really give a shit about the law.
Gollum and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his claim to fame, but you know, like you said, he's such a diverse
actor. You know, so seeing his Alfred, I was like, are we gonna get like a mature version of Andy Serkis? Are we gonna see some emotion? And we did. I feel like we just barely scratched the surface of this character.
Absolutely.
I feel like there were at times in the movie where Matt Reeves wanted the film to breathe, and I think using more Andy Serkis could have given him that. To where we could have tapped into more Bruce Wayne development. I think that was a miss for me. And you had 3 hours to do it, so it was like I know you cut an hour out of that film. You know, everybody knows this, and I think that a lot of that was Alfred portion. To me, I would have cut back on your Zoe Kravitz, and I would have added more Andy Serkis, because Zoe Kravitz didn't do anything for the movie. She didn't. She just brought a person. You know, she brought an interesting character, a great plot device, but she didn't steal the show, and she didn't hurt the show. It was like you take her out, that's the same movie. Right. I think if you added more Andy Serkis, that could have changed a little bit more dynamic.
No, absolutely. I think that Serkis, you showcase more about Serkis and Pattinson scenes together. That would have kind of really hit home about how troubled Bruce is at this point in time in his life. Right. Like you can see, you know, in every other iteration, Bruce, for the most part, is always kind of listening to what Alfred says or in this one, it's almost like Bruce is very stubborn, and Andy Serkis is always trying to like, look, Bruce, you got to do this, and he keeps trying to.
He's almost like resentful.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like being a saucy teenager towards him.
Yes. Yep.
Kind of thing.
And I think that would have really added something. Like you said, we've seen Catwoman before; she was great in the role, but she didn't really do anything new. You know, I think seeing more scenes between Bruce and Alfred at this point in time in their lives, this certain relationship they have, would have been interesting because we've never really seen this live action wise before.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to say it was the pacing because the pacing wasn't bad, but maybe there's just so much going on. I think that there was like 3 different times where I thought the movie was gonna end, or they had hit the climax, and it continued on. Right. There was a few times, but in particular, is like once he caught the Riddler, I almost felt like that should have been wrapped up around there, and there still was almost like 30 more minutes of movie after he's been apprehended, which was, I don't know, the climax seemed a little disjointed in that aspect. I mean, that's about it though, you know.
I think the Riddler's capture I think the reason why like he got captured and then like the end game happened, right, is because Riddler planned that, right? Because Riddler plans every step of the way. He wanted Bruce to catch him, right? Almost like, you solved the riddle. Here's another one. Oh, wait, you're too late. Fuck you, I won, kind of thing. You know, I'm smarter than you.
I think that I get that, but I feel like it was just the momentum of it was kind of like
Definitely.
hindered.
Like we felt like safe. We felt like okay, we're at a closure of the film. But
Just the case in point, if once he caught Riddler, and maybe because it was after, like he went and talked to Riddler, and Riddler revealed his plan, and Bruce was still trying to figure stuff out. But I think had he gotten caught and like, he's in the diner where they got caught, and Bruce is looking at him, and maybe they would have exchanged some words there, and he was like, "Oh, your job's not done." He's like, "What do you mean?" And all of a sudden, he's in handcuffs. They haven't even taken him to the station, but all these explosions start happening. He thought he had everything figured out, and the rug's pulled from under his feet. Is like the feel I think it would have implemented, but the way it played out, it's almost like Bruce had a little bit of time trying to figure it out, and I think the momentum would have worked better had they not had the movie truly end 30 minutes after the Riddler's been caught.
Right. I didn't like the fact that we almost got him to throw the batarang, and I was like, and then he's like, "Oh wait, that's the only one." It's like, I was like, "Oh shit."
Maybe that's something I agree with that, but maybe that's something he's gonna like build on in the future. He's like, I need more of these, I can't just
right. It was like, "Oh fuck, this is the only one." It's almost like Sokka's boomerang. You know when he threw it in Avatar, he's like, you're gonna come back anyway, and then it's like he's like, "No."
No.
I thought like that was a pure Sokka moment. I'm like, this man watches Avatar. He did not throw that thing.
Also, did they in the film? I know they talked about outside of that, and of course, comic fans will pick up on stuff like that. But in the film, did they even establish that that was the gun plate that killed his parents that he uses?
Yeah.
Did they say? Okay, I got to go back and watch that.
That was teased. That was like teased like 3 years ago. That was like said 3 years ago. That was like
no, but that's what I'm saying. Did they say it within the movie?
No.
Okay, that's
and
what
I
I'm
thought
saying.
that
So there's some people who might have not.
Yeah, and I said that at the beginning of this video. That really ticked me off, because I was like, God damn it, man. I thought we didn't even talk about the chase down. Yo, it's even the Batmobile, man. The Batmobile was such a strength to the movie. I love the design of it, I remember when Tom King and David Fincher doing Rebirth, and they brought out their Batmobile, and it was simple, coming off Scott Snyder's. That was like big rock star metal vibes. I thought that's what we got with Ben Affleck's. We got like that overdone bat. It almost felt like a bat tank instead of a Batmobile.
Yeah.
I thought
I was a big fan of I think it kind of reminded me of Morrison's Batmobile a little bit, just in the fact that it was just a souped up car.
It had like a classic iteration to it, but like with modern gigs, And I was like,
yep.
Literal, like, you know what I'm talking about. I was like, yo, that's dope. That's super dope. I loved it. I thought the way that was shot, the sound during that chase down.
Ooh. You knew some shit was about to pop off once you heard that, bro. I was like, oh shit. Oh,
here we go. Hey, my man can run all he wants, I got yo. Right? And then you got the Nirvana going on, and I was just like, all right.
I feel like that chase scene was it was well shot, to be honest, because for how the quick cuts and it taking place at night in the rain, that was just really well shot. Like that's the color palette, man. The color palette is so brilliant in this movie.
Yes. The way this movie was shot was just, that is like, if we're comparing it, and we're gonna get into this later, but if we're comparing it to like other Batman films, the way it's shot just goes through the roof of any other Batman movie. I don't care what anyone says. It just goes through the roof, man.
Yeah.
I just think like the genius of the narration, the way it's shot. Maybe the acting was better in Dark Knight, but as a movie, if we're looking at what makes a movie possible, the score, the film, right? The Batman is much better. Speaking of things that are much better, let's welcome back Ty.
Hey. Sorry, they won't happen again. I decided to just use my phone.
Oh no, you're good. You had to use like one riddle to like get to the other one, and now you're back here. You saw it. What were we just talking about? You asked a question.
Ty, did you get all your favorite characters out?
No, I didn't get my third favorite character. Okay. My third favorite character is gonna have to be. I'll take Falcone.
Yeah.
Hey, respectable. Yes. Totoro, I think is how he played the role was almost understated because he's a great actor. You know, he's very standoutish. You know, if he
Yeah.
wants to be, the way he just kind of blended in with everyone and still left a memorable role, I think is just speaks to his acting credibility. I'm a big fan of John Turturro, so
Yes.
great choice.
We were just talking about the bat chase down with the Batmobile, the way the movie was shot during that time.
Let's rank Batmobiles, if you guys, since you were talking about Batmobiles. After Ty gives us his.
What'd you think of that scene, brother?
I liked it. It wasn't surprising that the car was gonna sputter right before the takeoff. It doesn't seem as though Bruce is the best mechanic. Maybe the world's greatest detective, but not the world's best mechanic. I thought the car was badass because I'm a huge fan of muscle cars. I had a Dodge Challenger back in the day, so it gave me that mixed with some Camaro vibes.
Yes, sir.
So you're a big car buff.
Yeah, a little something.
All right. I know there's some. This man probably has a whole catalog of like car knowledge.
Do you guys like the tank Batmobile, the animated series Batmobile, where it's exaggerated with the bat motifs, or just like it's a car but just a souped up car?
I just like a souped up car, man.
I think I agree. Now
I agree as well.
You know, my maybe close favorite is, I respect the Nolan tank Batmobile, but the Burton animated series Batmobiles are always gonna hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like if you have like the animated series as like a base level, but you add more little modern little kinks and chicks, whatever, you know, like additions, I think it's much more memorable that way. And I think I think like this Batmobile really took inspiration from the animated series a lot.
See that?
Yeah.
And you know, and I like Scott Snyder's and Capullo's Batmobile, and I think like the Bat Tanks and like all those like overdone like rock star kind of things, like they look cool. They really do. But like Batman has never really been about the rock star kind of life. So I think like in doing that, it's almost like you're not, you know, yeah, it's not like efficient for him. You know, I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. I'm like, he's never been about like all the glam and shit. Like this man don't want to be known to be the most badass mother. Like, yeah, he doesn't want that unwanted attention, and he doesn't want people saying, "Yo, my man got the dopest car out there. Y'all gotta get him." No, I don't think I've ever heard Batman say that.
We're talking about before you joined back on type. Something you might have altered with the movie, or certain things you would have changed. What are some things you might have changed?
When it comes to police in movies and military as well, I'm a huge stickler. Obviously, Steph, you know, I come from a police background. That scene where Batman's trying to escape the Gotham PD and he propelled himself up, no officers in their right mind will look up and start shooting because that's crossfire. They would be shooting themselves, and obviously what goes up must come down. Exactly. I think that scene was probably the most unrealistic, and that's just me being a stickler at heart.
No, understandable.
But that's pretty much it.
I think that was more of a visual thing, like, you know, it'd be because I caught myself thinking that too. I was like, bro, what if like your bullet ricochets off of something that you're firing up and it hits someone walking on it?
We all saw A New Hope when Han shot that blaster in like the dumpster.
Yeah.
What?
When in A New Hope, when Han and then when all of them were like in the sewer and like he shot it and like kept ricocheting.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like and Leia caught him like a dumbass. She's like, you fucking dumbass.
Oh, so they're trying to. So I guess they're trying to imply that Gotham PD are the stormtroopers right now. You know,
and that's what it looked like.
Yeah. That could have been. I agree with that because I caught myself thinking like, that's not responsible, bro. Like you don't know who
not
you're
at all.
hit.
Right.
Like, it's very eager, and you know, as a police officer, you're trained to. Well, based on what I've picked up, that you trained and go against that that natural response, like the fight or flight response. You're trained to conquer that, and that was more of them giving into that, like, oh, he's escaping, get him, guys, you know, instead of trying to be logical about it.
I would be lying to you if I said I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't see officers point their guns at times where they shouldn't, in terms of if you and I are getting ready to go get the bad guy, and you two are in front of me, and I take my gun out, but I'm right behind Brandon.
Right.
If you two start shooting, I'm going to hear shots, and then I'm going to shoot, and then I'm going to shoot Brandon in the back.
Hey.
And then he's going to end up kicking my ass afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. I'll literally be in a wheelchair, because I won't be able to feel my legs. I'll be like all Professor X mode on you, I'll just send in my X-Men, or because my last name's Feldman, I'll send in my F-Men. Wait, no, that sounds weird. Yeah, I'll send in my X-Men. I was kind of talking about how I would have liked to see more Andy Serkis, less Zoe Kravitz, more Andy Serkis in the role of Alfred.
Yeah.
Not to touch too much on that, but I think that Andy Serkis as an actor is really diverse, and I think I would have liked to see him kind of almost put that little punky Pattinson in his place a little bit,
help him grow up.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, when they did that fake out, I was like, you better not kill Alfred, bro. Especially when they hyped Andy Serkis up just to kill him off. So I'm glad they didn't. But I was so close to, I was gonna like, yo, if they do that, this will be one thing I will bitch about. Like, Matt Reeves, what were you thinking? But
I love you, Matt, but whoa, what the fuck, man? Like, Dan DiDio, what the fuck, man?
And I just thought that, at the time I thought I was like, that's gonna, like, I don't mind a Bruce without Batman. Let's try it. But so early on in his career to kill Alfred off would have been a weird, like, would he have had that guide stone, like, so I'm glad they didn't. My bad.
Yeah, I'm with that.
It didn't surprise me that they didn't end up killing him. Speaking with Steph a couple days ago, it wouldn't surprise me with Alfred's background, now him being an agent back in the UK. It wouldn't surprise me if Alfred was actually part of the Court of Owls in Gotham.
That would be
because
a twist.
Because we know that Alfred's the one who trained Bruce in the movie, because Bruce even said it. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if those gauntlets actually came from Alfred.
That's an interesting point. And I was actually going to segue. I was actually going to find a way to segue into where does this lead, because we got multiple teases. Obviously, with some people in the law office out, that clears way for one of our favorites, Harvey Dent, to come into the foreplay a little bit.
Yeah.
That foreplay is sexual in nature. Damn right, Harvey Dent. But, we also saw something on the screen called Hush. We also got a good reference flashback to Tommy Elliott. As much as I don't like Hush, I do think he's very fitting for this time, especially because
I think Matt Reeves could do amazing with him.
I think he can do a good Hush, and also a storyline from Hush was Alfred getting taken out of the picture.
Yep.
So maybe the letter was Tommy Elliott saying attack Alfred, not Batman, because he won't be home.
What if they make it seem like Tommy Elliott set up the next movie? He seems like he was a mastermind behind this movie. Like, he's the one who hired Riddler. But behind Tommy Elliott, for the third movie, Court of Owls.
Right? That's Gotham at its finest,
Perfect.
bro. That is Gotham at its finest, so we got that. We got the bait shtick that we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Were there any other Easter eggs that you guys were able to catch during the movie?
I would love. I know he's leaning more towards realism, but I would love to see Reeves take on Mr. Freeze.
I would love to see Mr. Freeze too.
Super cool.
It's like my third favorite villain right there in Gotham. I
don't know how you pull it off, but just based on what he did with Riddler, I'm all for it. Like, whatever he would envision.
Especially with Mr. Freeze's background, like of course he's a villain, but he's doing what he has to do for his wife.
Right.
Yep.
I thought this film did a really good job at wrapping up in the fact that we burned the bridges down, which we're in that little isolation now, and now the army is taken in. Where Gotham is now literally it's Gotham. It's separated from the world in its own darkness. So I think the movie did that really, really well, closing that, and it's like really fitting that a lot of it comes down on Falcone, who was one of and that's just really unique to the foundation of Gotham. You know, is that grasp for power. And now we have room that just expands the narrative. You know, I know Ty, you were talking about that earlier, and how this movie did a great job at giving us that way to go, any direction, and any direction that they can take it is going to be correct. You know, it's going to be I agree.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. It's not like in Game of Thrones in the last season where they were like, what the hell? You know, and they just pulled a fastball. Oh yeah, no. Tyrion Lannister is gonna kill his friend Varys. Spoiler alert for a show that's been out for 10 years now. like, oh fuck, damn it. It's like you're seeing everything come to fruition, and it's
Yes.
great. Ty, my brother, what are your thoughts on how we wrapped everything up?
I thought everything was wrapped up pretty nicely.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just so very interested on what they would do for the second and third installment, because again, so many different ways. Another conspiracy theory of mine, towards the beginning and the middle of the Batman, we have Alfred explaining to Bruce, like, listen, you need to make a public appearance. Like, if you don't do it for yourself, you need to do it for your family's name, your legacy. I could see Wayne Tech going bankrupt, and a huge benefactor pops up out of nowhere. Maybe it could be Oliver Queen. He'll pop up and he can buy Wayne Tech.
Or Lex Luthor. I don't want to see Lex
Luthor.
Luthor. I don't want to see Lex. I don't want to see Lex for a while.
If we have Oliver Queen, it will work out well. There's a lot of Green Arrow fans due to the CW with the Arrowverse shows, and we don't really have anything slated that at least I knew of
and our boy Jeff Lemire with the freaking killer run with Andrea Sorrentino, who's also a great artist as well. So, oh my gosh, I did 52 run. But
what about Ted Cord? I think that'd be. I mean, this is only because I want Booster Gold to be.
Okay, yeah, shut up. No, I'm kidding. I love them. I love both of them, but
he's rich. He's a detective. He's an inventor. Cord Industries buys out Wayne.
I could see it.
But there's a lot of routes they could go that just. Yeah. I'm excited.
If we ever get a Harley Quinn, what iteration do you guys think we're gonna go with? Are we gonna see just a Harley first, or do you think we're gonna see like more of like the Margot Robbie archetype?
I don't think they'll go that route, because what Margot Robbie is so iconic in the role right now, that's be like letting someone. I mean, who knows? Because right now we've got 3 different Batman. They usually let the Batman be Batman, but that'd like kind of be letting someone play a different Iron Man, when Robert Downey Jr. was doing so well.
But they also said that we're in a multiverse now, so anything can happen. He's like, this could all happen on like Earth 25. This could all happen on Earth Prime.
Maybe who's to say it's not Harley Quinn? Maybe they want to let Margot Robbie be Harley Quinn. You've got Punchline now, who's the girlfriend archetype of the Joker.
That's what I was thinking.
Punchline.
Now with the Batman with Matt Reeves, why do we have to go with older rogues gallery? Again, maybe Harley got killed. Harley got killed. We know now. Matt Reeves said the Joker's the one that was in the cell. Maybe during that bout, for whatever reason, Harley gets killed, and that makes room for Punchline to come in.
You know what? You know what I'm excited for? You know what we could see? We could see the Foundation of Arkham Asylum in the next one, because we need a place to put these guys. Yes, which means Hugo Strange, the most slept on character in Batman universe.
I agree.
I think he's so slept on. I think he's really slept on. Like severe. Like when he's done right. If you look at the Gotham show, his character was great, man. Oh my god.
The Arkham games as well.
Definitely, yeah.
I felt like we were in an Arkham game with the way the movie was shot and the way a lot of the fight scenes happened. I felt like the only thing we were missing was like the red kind of notification that like someone's gonna like stab me with a knife. But like everything else is like on par. I was like, yo, that's dope. I just want to see Gotham with snow now. I want to see snowy Gotham, and I'll be complete.
Ooh. Yeah, Reeves would do great with that. The snowy. I think that would be dope to see like a snowy Gotham. We saw such a rainy Gotham. But I think that's another villain. I think Hugo Strange would do wonders in the Reeves universe, to be completely honest.
Right.
He's got the mental and the physicality aspect to a degree to really give Bruce a run for his money.
Right.
With possible ties with could be No Man's Land, but with Falcone out of the picture, and obviously everyone in Gotham and the world knows that the police are corrupt, politicians are corrupt.
Jim Gordon's son, James Gordon.
Yeah. Obviously he'll become commissioner, but again, this is only insight with me coming from a police background. When we find out that cops are dirty and they get locked up or get killed for whatever reason, what happens is all of their cases are thrown out. So it wouldn't surprise me if Maroney gets put back out on the street, and Penguin's going to have to deal with Maroney trying to take over for Gotham in the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
and I think Penguin would kick his ass at this point. I think Penguin would absolutely like obliterate him. I would be so happy to see that.
One-on-one?
Oh, one-on-one, or even
gang
in a
against
chess
gang.
match. Even in a chess match, I honestly think like Penguin would just wipe the floors clean, you know? I think he's just like intelligence-wise. Like, yeah, Maroni got more money, but like it's all about information. It's about who you know in Gotham, you know? And we've even seen it right with Bruce Wayne right now is money don't buy you happiness. Money does not mean you're smart because he's the dumbest Batman we've seen. Yeah, he's able to solve these riddles.
You are not as smart as I thought you were.
Yeah, he's not. You are not. And you know what? I think all of us in this movie theater were thinking the same thing. Like, you're a dumbass. Like, yeah, bro, you got a ways to go.
He got you.
Like, I was thinking the same thing, and I'm okay with it because we finally have a Batman that we can age with. But
which is odd. All right, we were talking about this yesterday, but Pattinson is like 2 or 3 years off than Bale was when Bale did his last Batman movie. I think Bale was still in his late 30s by the time he did Dark Knight Rises. And Pattinson's like 36, maybe turning 36, 37 in a few months, which is, but he comes off younger, but it's just odd that, you know, I said the same thing about Mahershala Ali as Blade. Like, he's older than Wesley Snipes was.
Very old.
By the time Wesley Snipes did his last Blade movie, you know? So it's like, how much mileage can we get? How much can we grow with these guys when they're already so old? But who knows? I'm still all for these interpretations they want to bring. Like, I think Rob Pattinson's gonna only get better with the next Batman movie. He's taking that route that Zack Snyder wanted to do. Zack Snyder always set his goal. Like, he understood that people didn't like the interpretation of his Batman and Superman, but he was like, I want to show you guys how they got to that status you know them as. He's like, I want to show you how Clark Kent became the big blue Boy Scout that he's known as. You know, he didn't just wake up and he was this. He had to go through trials and tribulations and learn this way. And that was always I think this gets overlooked, but that was always Zack Snyder's ultimate goal, was to show you how these characters got to that status that everyone knows them as. And I think Pattinson's doing that with this Batman, so I'm all in.
Right. Agreed.
Do you guys think that Batman's actually helping Gotham in this movie or hurting?
I think he's helping.
Right now, helping, but I think we're gonna see that the way he does things is gonna start. It's that domino effect, like, you know, they said in like Michael Caine said in The Dark Knight, like, you know, you putting on the bat suit made criminals think they've got to step their thing up. You know, I think that's gonna be played out in this one too.
I think he'll help in the aspect of organized crime.
Yes.
I think the only negative aspect is he's going to inspire villains to step up their game.
Yep.
Right. And that's going to make for better film. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah,
I'm excited for that. Where does this rank in your Batman movie list?
This is a hard one because I've seen every other film with Batman character in it at least 3 to 5 times.
Like, is it top 3, top 2, top 1, top 5?
I would put it in top 3. Only because this film was the definitive of him being the world's greatest detective, as compared to the other iterations of Batman and his movies and shows. I like the dark tone of the movie because everyone was making fun of Snyder for how dark his universe was. This film, in my opinion, was even darker.
Even darker, yeah. It really was.
And like Steph said, cinematography wise, this film, I think it was one of the best for DC, and it's antithesis for the MCU. It gets a lot of hate, but The Amazing Spider-Man 2, that was beautiful cinematically as well. I feel like they're polar opposites on the same spectrum.
Right. That's very well put. Steph, what about you, my man?
I'm still letting it digest I want to see it another time, like Tyrell said. Usually, I've seen all these other movies multiple times. I would say this is definitely in the top 5 for me. Yeah, top 5 is safe. Almost top 3, but it's like the 3 to 4 spot. I gotta really.
So understandable.
Yeah, my score is probably gonna, my opinion on this movie will probably change just because there's so much going on.
Right.
There's so much.
It needs a rewatch.
Yeah, absolutely. But definitely a top 5 movie.
Right.
I don't know if it's gonna reach the heights of being as iconic as Burton's Batman and The Dark Knight with Bale, but it's definitely gonna be one of the top Batman movies that people talk about for years to come.
At least like in the iteration and even like the cinematography, I think it puts that in that category alone. For me, I gotta say, as of right now, I'm going with top 2. I do gotta give it another couple rewatches because I think like another strength of this movie was, or this is threw a lot of people off, was you were supposed to figure this movie out on your own. This wasn't like the answer in front of your face, right? You kind of had to learn, you had to pay attention to the movie, right? I think a lot of movies in the past, especially Batman movies, is like we can follow that same narrative, but this had so much stuff going on, you know, so many, like even like with the Riddler, like you got to critically think. And again, like when I associate and I dive into Gotham, I want to critically think about Gotham. I want to know, I want to understand what it speaks. You know, I want to understand what does Gotham mean to me? What does it mean to other people? What is this person trying to say about the darkness? You know, because we all deal with that side of ourselves in a different, unique way. And as a story, I think like you're never gonna tell the same Gotham story twice.
It's true.
I'm putting it in the top 2. Again, I do need to go back rewatch. I think it still rivals Dark Knight. I think it rivals it in almost every way. I could say Paul Dano and Heath Ledger arguably put up iconic performances.
Yeah,
but
I didn't. Yeah, they did. But I just gotta defend this real quick. I reckon Paul Dano being amazing. Heath Ledger, you cannot, and people could say it's just makeup, but you can like see through like Heath Ledger. You don't see Heath Ledger in the Joker role. You don't see Heath Ledger underneath all that makeup. You know?
No, you don't.
Heath Ledger in Knight's Tale or 10 Things I Hate About You. You don't see that guy's acting as Joker. I see Paul Dano acting as the Riddler. Not to say he was bad, but I just think Heath Ledger's, that's like a once in a lifetime role that some people like to say that's the role that drove, led to his unfortunate timely death, but he put a lot into that, he was a big method actor, and I think that shows.
Right.
Not to take anything away from Paul Dano, but I think
Damn it! I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna rewatch it tonight. I know y'all doing it on Saturday, but I'm gonna rewatch it tonight.
Batman Begins, then The Dark Knight, and now probably Buff Rises.
I already finished rewatching Batman Begins, and it's fine. I give Batman Begins like a 3.5. Backlogs. I give Dark Knight 4.5. When I see a sunny Gotham, I don't care if it was shot in my hometown of Pittsburgh. A sunny Gotham to me is the most cringy, distracting thing I've ever seen. So like that automatically like knocks it down for me.
I think that's
me being a stiffler. Huh?
That was one of the reasons. That's one of the things I like about Begins more is that
it was gritty. It was like that noir feeling. Yeah.
Almost everything is shot during the day in The Dark Knight. A lot, not almost everything, but a lot.
I hated that. I was like, get over yourself, bro. Stop.
But he's trying to show the importance of the Bruce Wayne.
I don't care. Even when it's sunny, even when it's daytime, there's still that lingering stuff. It's like it's almost like because Gotham is so polluted, right? It's its own darkness. A lot of Gotham is getting to that, and a lot of it is like
or maybe we're so conditioned to see Gotham at night because comic artists know
not even like at night, but during the day too. It's like I always see a cloudy sky too that's polluted.
It was so weird seeing Batman in The Dark Knight Rises during the day,
fighting in the broad daylight and in the middle of downtown.
it was crazy to me.
Right. What do you guys? So out of 5 backlogs, I'm giving up on Crowns. We're not gonna do Crowns. We're gonna go back to backlogs. Out of 5 backlogs, what are we giving it? Ty, you can go first.
I'm gonna give it 4 and a question mark out of 5 backlogs, only because I feel like I need to see this movie again.
Yeah.
That's fair.
What about you, brother?
I swayed, but I initially said a 4. Saturday I said a 4.5. Like I said, I'm still internalizing, digesting this movie, so I'll leave it in between 4.5. That's what, because it's like I say 4 because I feel that's solid, because I don't think it was a perfect movie, and I think that's a great score for a movie that you think is worth seeing. It is an amazing movie, but are there flaws within it? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like my gripes for this movie are so minor. I feel like it's on the edge of being great, like I can't really find anything where I can really rag about this movie. It's just minor nitpick stuff I might have done differently, or I think might have helped the story flow better. So that's why I sway in between 4.5.
Right. And the music score for the Batman wasn't bad at all, but at least with the Nolan verse, I mean, iconic, classic. I think that's one of the minute things that the Batman was missing.
It's a good word, minute. I'm gonna have to steal that word from you.
I like the music, but
Can
I agree. I don't think the music was gonna iconic as the other stuff, which is odd,
I think Falcone's role, although like we see it as minute, what spoke to a glorified performance. Haha! I'm using that from now on. But I'm giving it a 4.5. When I left the theater, I gave it like a 4.93. I've come down from that hype.
Peculiar score. 4.93. Why the 9.3?
Because it wasn't a 4.9, it wasn't a 5, and it was like it was great, But that's also me. Like, this is the first Batman movie I've seen in the theaters. This is the first time I've been a part of like that 3-year journey of seeing it like produce and come to live.
Right.
But if I'm taking away my own bias, I'm giving it a 4.5 right now. I don't think it's gonna go up. I don't think it's gonna go down. Again, I gotta look at The Dark Knight. And I think 4.5, because it was a great film. There's nothing like too major to complain about. And I think that I want to give it that 4.5. I may come down to like a 4.3, just because I want to give room for this trilogy to grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why I think I like your 4 scores better, except I'm just too much of doing a big Herm bit, and I'm giving it a 4.5.
It's all right. You enjoyed it. That's okay. 4 is still a solid score. Like, that's that means the movie was still excellent, like an average movie to me is a 2.53 movie. That's like, it was,
my wife gives every movie that 2.5 or 3. 7 out of 10. Oh, right. I enjoyed the movie. Okay, so would you give it? 7 out of 10.
Yeah, right.
Here's some quick controversy. Which movie did you enjoy more? No Way Home or The Batman?
No Way Home.
I'm not answering that. Fuck you.
They're different beasts, but in terms of, because I think
was it nostalgia based?
Yeah, it was more nostalgia, more fan service.
Yeah.
We can complain all day about how that hinders actual story sometimes, but us being fans that we are, we appreciate stuff like that to the fullest. And that
Daredevil.
movie just had Daredevil. You talking about when he showed in
yeah, No Way Home. Wait, are you comparing Daredevil to Batman? Batman, Daredevil.
Batman. There you go.
I'm glad you guys bring that up, because I would love to see Matt Reeves, quick sidebar, do Punisher or Daredevil. I would love his take on those characters.
Batman, Daredevil.
Drew Goddard, I think he would do amazing at because he was actually a showrunner for the Daredevil show. But he
I saw that. Yeah.
For or I think he directed Cabin in the Woods, or helped write the screenplay. He was
the newer version.
Which one?
For Cabin in the Woods, the newer one that came out.
It's got. I know what you're Cabin Fever. The one where they had Chris Hemsworth in it, and they had all the different monsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get those mixed up too. Don't worry.
I got to see these movies, bro.
He was supposed to direct Sinister Six at one point. Like, I think Drew Goddard. Oh, he directed Bad Times at the El Royale. I think he would be an interesting choice for something like that. He's got very similar Matt Reeves feels. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Spider-Man, just because there wasn't, like I said, part of the problem for me with Batman was I felt like there's 3 different climaxes, like 3 different times I felt the movie was gonna end or should have ended, but then Spider-Man, not perfect, but damn near, and it just maybe it was the nostalgia, the fan moments that helped see it through a little bit better. But what about you guys? What about you, Ty? Would you prefer?
I am 100% biased, and my 2 favorite superheroes, number 1 is Batman, number 2 is Spider-Man, so I'm gonna have to go with the Batman.
I thought you were gonna say Daredevil.
No.
No, but I love man, I can't choose because I love parts of me love like that glam that Marvel does, like being like all bright for everybody. You get to see Peter Parker as a person. I love seeing that. And I also like seeing like they arguably have a similar origin story, right? Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Right?
Their parents and yeah.
You know, and I like how it shaped them into 2 different men. So I think like as men, those are examples of how do we respond to situations, And I think it's just great takes as well, because you can see yourself relating, okay, sometimes I am going to get caught up in that darkness. The other time I'm going to be, I'm going to keep pushing on, I'm going to continue my life and I'm going to keep being the best person I am, being the best man I can be. So, and I think like, I don't know, I can't really choose because I enjoyed them so much as films. If we're comparing which film was better, I'm going to say the Batman one was.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
But the fan service of seeing the Marvel Universe and seeing like all the Spider-Men that we've got, it's like, I can't not say.
Okay, see, structurally, thematically, Batman was the better film. But if I were talking about enjoyment, like that's what I'm saying. Like they gave me different things. For which one I enjoy better, the fan of me squealed and I had more fun, more energy with, that's Spider-Man. But structurally, thematically, statistically, Batman is the
I know the correct answer, but I'm not going to give it to you because it's like I enjoy the other one more.
No, I mean, but yeah, they're both great films, but I like them for different reasons.
And we all knew that the 2 original Spider-Man were going to be in the film, especially with the scene with all the bad guys on one side and you have
at each other,
we just knew. For that film I just wish, me being biased, that Miles Morales was thrown in there and having it been played by Childish Gambino so everything can come full circle.
See, but didn't they set him up as his uncle?
They did. But that's what I'm saying, multiverse.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit that show later and talk about where do we put Miles in the MCU, because I also do want to do a show talking about why should Miles be the Amazing Spider-Man. I think we've seen Miles enough to where he should be the Amazing Spider-Man, and across, I think it's time Marvel puts Miles Morales as their brand name character instead of Peter Parker. I think it's time Miles Morales steals the show, especially because Into the Spider-Verse was such a hit. And everyone has been begging for him. Everyone who's played the video game. They're just begging for him,
Yeah.
I
think it's time Marvel dives. But that's for another show, and I do want to save that for that conversation as well.
I just want to say I was a big proponent of Miles becoming Spider-Man in Civil War when they announced, they were like, is it going to be Peter Parker? But we knew Spider-Man was going to be in it, but they didn't specify which one. I was like, Peter Parker's had his day. Let's get Miles initiated. But like you said, another show for another day.
And I brought that up to say this. Would you guys be opposed for future Batman installments, Chase Fox? Because I don't think Bruce can do it all by himself.
No, I don't want. I don't like the next Batman that like John Ridley's doing. I am not against, and it's not for like any.
I understand.
Or anything. It's more of like, I felt like the next Batman feels like it was a story that got canned because of an editorial decision that was not made. But they're like, we're just going to do it anyway because we teased there being a black Batman, so we got to put it out there now to the world. It's like we can't really go back on our word now because of everything.
And that's probably why they moved into New York.
Right. And I don't think that, I think there are other characters in Gotham that you can bring the same representation to that would have a much better story. I think Duke being Signal would be a much better
I was just gonna, as soon as you brought that up, I was thinking Signal.
I
like
you know,
Duke. I don't like
if
his
you want to,
costume.
if you want to bring in other characters, you can bring in Cassandra. You can bring in Orphan, who's another great character. You know, Tim Drake is already African American. We saw him in the film. In
But
the
why
beginning.
not? Why not make Chase in this film like the Robin archetype when he's already been being the Batman in comics, so that would just kind of add to his legitimacy if in the movies we see a Bruce training a protege Chase, you know. Seeing him
If it's
become
done,
Batman,
if it's like done right, like at a young age, but I don't want this motherfucker come in like all like I'm the next Batman. You
I'm
know,
gonna be filling in for you, Bruce. Yeah, I get.
I think, and again, we're learning with this Batman, so I don't think we're ready to retire that mantle or even think of it being there being a next Batman. You know,
I can see Matt Reeves revive because back in the day, a lot of people don't know this, is Marlon Wayans was actually cast as Robin in the spinoff to Batman Returns.
Yeah.
And
he's still
Burton
getting paid.
attached to it. Still gets residual checks, yes. I can see Matt Reeves toying with that concept of a young. Well, it could done. He doesn't have to be black, but I could see Matt Reeves trying to make that a thing again. Because even Sean Gordon Murphy at Duke's in there. Well, I don't know if he's Tom Taylor in the what was it, the Night or the Dark Detective? The Detective? Yeah, like a.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the title.
Yeah, so I definitely think that's a concept he'd revive.
right. But yeah, like I don't even want to think about like I think we gotta hinder Batman a little bit, like all like the classic feelings of it, like bring that into Gotham before we do go on and like Punchline and Jace. And I honestly think that narrative of the next Batman has failed on all accounts. I think John Ridley has not done a good job with that at all.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's more better of a movie writer, in my opinion, than a comic writer.
And I think like he has not realized that in comics you're God, and you can do whatever the hell you want. You know, you don't have to worry about a budget. You don't have to worry about anything else. You can just do it. You can just tell your story, right? You know, and I think that he's learned that in his Black Panther. Also because he has to work with other writers. This is more like he's doing it on his own, and I think that's hurt him.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't live in a world where there isn't like another Batman that could speak to another demographic. You know, I think that's great that we can all have those characters that we can relate to, but I think it's illy timed, and I don't think that I think if I were to redo it, all of DC's characters, I would hit the restart button. They're gonna hit the restart button on Yara Flor. The next writer who's gonna come on Yara Flor is gonna be completely different because Joel Jones dropped the ball. I think Tom Taylor dropped the ball with John, right? Or I think editorial dropped the ball with John, and I think that Ridley dropped the ball with Jace. You know, and that's just the way that I'm feeling right now. I think Joe Mulligan was done right though, except I just don't like Jeffrey Thorne as a Green Lantern writer, just because it's Twitter rampages on Hal Jordan. I think if you are a Green Lantern writer, you should hold your tongue back a little bit, but that's why I'm not reading it.
We know how I feel about Hal Jordan. So
yeah, but I'm coming at Jeffrey Thorne as a writer and the fact that you should have some professionalism, not to like bash characters that you're writing.
Hey, it sounds like when Havoc was getting bashed on, we had a certain guest on. But we won't go there. You'll get it. Well,
let's just say that person. Yo, if you guys did not catch that interview, stuff got confirmed that we weren't supposed to know about. I love it. But anyway, yeah, guys, thank you. Oh my gosh, my green link's falling down. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us this video. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. I didn't say this in the beginning, but let us know your thoughts as always of the Batman movie. How did you guys like it and whatnot? All of Rajan's links will be in the description below. Thank you so much for this amazing gift, man. Like I said, Rajan, I've never had a friend like you. I could throw in so many more Aladdin puns in there, you know, but I really appreciate it, brother. And all of Ty's links. Yeah, right? It's the only world. And all of Ty's links will be in the description below as well. Coming up on the channel, I believe we have archives coming out this Friday. I don't think we're going to be doing Ultimates because I don't think our leader for that's going to be there. So we might have to switch gears, see if we can do Ultimate Spider-Man instead, because I know Bryce wants to talk about it as well. I know I just found that out during this, but we're going to
try to put Ultimate, because we do want to go into the Ultimate Universe. I think we should start with Ultimate Spider-Man. I think we can do that. Get that out by Friday for you guys. We got coming out on Creators Corner next Tuesday. We got Steve Orlando coming on to promote Marauders and a new indie book that he has coming out with Tim Seeley. And then we have weekly wrap up every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We took a week off again because it was my birthday. But we will be back. Thank you. Again, you guys hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you guys are new, we just had a big uptake in our sub count. So if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. And we're so grateful to have you guys here. Steph, anything coming out on your end, posting wise, or Ty, anything posting wise? You guys, anything you guys want to talk about?
I don't. We got Blame Fable this Sunday with John's Comics with Kids. We'll be going over The Dark Knights.
Yeah.
So if you want some more Batman, we got you.
And Daredevil.
Yeah. And Daredevil. We'll never forget about. If we're doing Batman, best believe Daredevil will be covered as well. But yeah. Beyond that, this will be playing on 3. So make sure you guys tune back in for Let's Talk About It Remaster, where we're going to be covering the last 3 episodes of season 1 for Battlestar Galactica. Big Herm Fable myself. And this Saturday, Dylan's Horror Show. Damn it, I have terrible memory. I forgot the movie, but it's always a fun time, always a great movie. If Dylan's a walking horror encyclopedia that knows how to explain things in layman's terms for people like myself, so he's the best.
He's doing Dead and Buried.
Dead and Buried. Okay. Tune in for that.
My phone knows more than you.
And I'm a more regular on the show, and he knows better than I. You're making me look bad.
I just went on to the chat while you were rambling.
But no, Robbie's going to be there. Yeah. Verno, Brandon might pop in. Fable, you never know who's going to be there. Maybe even Tyrell. Which, thank you for hopping on with us today, brother.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, brother.
Came through in a crutch, man. Anytime. I hope you come back on. This was dope.
Yeah.
But
it was
beyond
a joy.
that,
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. We're gonna get you on. We're gonna get our boy Melvin on. Melvin, honestly, I love Melvin to death. That guy's been with us since the beginning,
Is
hopefully
he the Dick Grayson fan?
Yeah, Melvin. No, that's Robin Comics. That's Robin.
Oh, okay.
Since day 1 too. Melvin's been in there. Melvin just read Tomasi and Gleason's Batman and Robin. So
nice. Okay.
Been catching up with him. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Christ on Infinite Rants. This is like one of our favorite shows here. This is where we kind of like to talk about daily new comic day conversation. When you go to your LCS, this is like the kind of stuff you'd like to see or that you would talk about. So hopefully you guys find that interesting. Again, we really appreciate you guys. Take care. Happy Wednesday. Station.